in a food processor. I'm going to add equal amounts of corn flour and potato starch. I love corn flour in pastry because it gives you like a dry, flaky finish, and that's what you want. You want to remove the moisture from the pastry. So that goes into the food processor. And then to that, we're going to add potato starch. Now, potato starch and potato flour are not the same thing. Potato starch is just the starchy component of the potato. Potato flour is the whole flour, which has been ground, so it's got a really strong potato flavour. I never work with potato flour, only starch, so check your labelling when you're buying it. To that, we add sorghum, a really nutritious flour. It's full of antioxidants and protein. And in terms of structure, they say sorghum is most similar to wheat flour, and it's going to help give our pastry some structure. We're also going to add half a teaspoon of xanthan gum. Xanthan gum is going to help give our dough a bit of stretch, and we're going to add some sea salt flakes. So I'm just going to combine those dry ingredients together as a first step. That's all we need. Now we're going to add our cold butter. When you're making pastry, you want to use really cold butter. I don't want this butter melting into the pastry. I want it to stay quite firm, and I don't mind if I see some butter streaks because that's going to create some lovely air pockets in my pastry. I'm going to add 1 egg just to bind our pastry together. Now, traditionally, if you're making pastry, you don't really use an egg in rough puff pastry, but in gluten-free pastry, it does help. Okay, I'm just going to pop my lid on, and I'm going to blitz this until it resembles coarse breadcrumbs. Have a look at this texture. You can still see some chunks of butter in there. We want that. When that butter melts, it's going to create some little air pockets in our pastry. I'm just going to pop the lid back on, and whilst the motor is running, I'm going to add some chilled oil. Okay, our dough's ready. I'm just going to tip it out onto some baking paper. And then I'm going to do what's called rolling and folding. Now, if your dough's a little bit sticky, you can add a little extra corn flour as you go. So I'm just going to dust this with a little more corn flour just to bring it together. And I'm going to do what's called rolling and folding. So I'm going to place another sheet of baking paper on top. So whenever I roll out my pastry, I always roll it out between 2 sheets of baking paper because it is a very delicate pastry. I just roll it out like this. And then again, I use my baking paper to fold it over. So I fold it this way, and I fold it that way. I place my baking paper back on top, and I roll it out again. So I'm creating some layers in the pastry now that are going to turn out really flaky once we've made our sausage rolls. I'm going to roll the pastry in the baking paper one last time and then pop it in the fridge. After 30 minutes in the fridge, I'll take it out and repeat the process of rolling and folding. Then it's back in the fridge and I can get on with my sausage roll filling. So we're going to go for some beautiful Asian flavours today. I'm going to add 500 grams of chicken mince to my food processor. So I'm using thigh mince. I don't like to use breast because it's too dry. I want my chicken sausage rolls to be really moist. And thigh's got a lot more flavour and fat. So this is the type of mince you want to use here. And to that, I'm going to add 2 tablespoons of red curry paste. Now, if you want more heat, you can add more curry paste, but I make this for my kids, so I don't want it to be too spicy. I'm going to add a tablespoon of fish sauce for saltiness and incredible depth of flavour. It's beautiful in Asian cooking. I've got a carrot here that's been finely grated, and I've squeezed out all the excess moisture. That goes straight in. That's going to help make our filling really moist as well and light and fluffy. And to flavour, I'm going to grate in 2 garlic cloves. And I'm going to add an equal amount of grated ginger. Ginger and garlic are essential in Thai cooking. I'm going to add an egg to help bind our mixture. And some fresh herbs. Today I'm using shallots and coriander. Going to slice those finely. They don't have to be perfectly chopped because we are adding them to the food processor. I'm just slicing them like this. They can go straight in. And my favourite herb in Asian cooking, coriander. We need about 2 tablespoons worth, so I'm just going to cut off those roots. And give it a rough chop before it goes into the food processor. I'm going to blitz that to combine all those ingredients, and then we're going to fill our sausage rolls.